Hi, I'm Marlow Felton.
I'm Chris Felton.
And happy Super Bowl Sunday. We're Broncos fans, so we're not really excited. We're not excited about the Super Bowl.
It'll be right.
We're calling it I'm calling it the Justin Timberlake halftime show.
Oh my God.
Right?
I don't care.
Oh, he doesn't care about Justin Timberlake. But anyway, so we're here to talk about your money personality. What money personality are you? I know what you are.
I know what you are.
We're not the same money personality, and I think that works in our favor.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I know there's some couples that have the same money personality, and that can work too.
Really?
It can. Usually the
Two promoters.
Well, so we're going to share with you
Two
what those four money personalities.
Two analysts?
Oh my gosh, two analysts. Whoa. No, two controllers.
Two controllers and two analysts would be the worst.
So anyway,
And the two promoters would just be
I don't know. It would be a
alcoholics.
disaster. But
drunks.
but we're going to share with you what our money personalities are and some examples of what we've experienced with our money personalities over the years. So one of the money personalities is the controller. There's the promoter, the supporter, and the analyzer. And these aren't money personalities that we came up with. They're kind of generic, generally used, often used in a variety of different ways to describe personalities in general. But we're going to talk about them in relation to money and how your main personality can influence your money patterns and your spending or saving or avoiding patterns as well. So do you want to talk about your money personality? Because he has a big personality, so he's all about big money, big personality. Chris Felton, big money, right? That's how that works. You're he's looking at me like
She's got into you. She's
who
all
are
like,
you?
big money.
Big money.
Personality.
Big personality.
Big.
Because
No, I'm a promoter. I'm a promoter.
he's a promoter.
So promoters are driven by the need to have fun, the need to be liked, and it was probably the worst personality trait I could have.
What, your need to be liked?
Well, need to be liked, need to
Yeah.
be approval, or need for approval, right? We've said it a bunch of times here. Need for approval is the biggest check you'll ever write in your life. So I had to write checks to drive the right car and be in the big home and have the big office space and, make myself look better than I needed to. I'd buy the rounds, I'd pick up your tab, I would, holy crap, spend a lot of money, and it was painful. So, but promoters are, usually entrepreneurs, salespeople.
Yeah.
Not that you have to be a promoter to do that, but, outgoing, likes to be in front of the room and likes to speak, and so, from a marketing, drive it, type of entrepreneurial attitude, it's a good one to have. But,
Yeah.
All these other personalities have been super successful in other things too. But I think one of the keys is like, a lot of people always talk about fixing your weaknesses, and I don't know if that's really the thing to do. It's just in each of these quadrants, figure out, what is the strength of it, and then kind of figure out what's the downfall of it, right?
Right.
And get really aware of when you're tripping over that line.
Right. So, yeah, you can have more than one money personality. And like Chris is saying, it doesn't mean that, it's bad or, because there's good and bad in all four of the personalities, pros and cons. It's just good to be aware of what drives you and what motivates your money habits.
So tell them what you are.
Oh, well, gee, don't tell me what to do. I'll let you guess. I'm the controller. I do have a lot of promoter characteristics. However, I'm primarily a controller. Now, a controller is pretty much what it sounds like. Stop, honey. Likes a lot of structure. Likes to
like a vice.
Likes to be in control. It's like a vice. Yes, just like
Starts
that.
like this and then
It's just like that. But anyway, it's usually a good idea for the controller to manage the finances. Controllers are often CEOs, head of companies, in a area or a role that they're in control, basically. So a controller is never going to do well when the other partner has complete control of the finances or doesn't share any of what's going on or any of that. It's not going to work at all. It will drive them completely crazy, and I will tell you that the marriage will be over in no time because that's just going to erode at the relationship. Now, it works for Chris and I because there's still the transparency. So yes, I have this need to take charge of the finances and the day-to-day, knowing that things are, getting paid and how much is getting saved, and I've got my spreadsheet and all that. However, Chris has access, and we talk about it weekly. He knows what's going on. We talk about major financial decisions. So there's still that transparency. It's not like Chris doesn't know what's going on, because that wouldn't be good either. But controllers tend to have a big ego. I mean, I don't know who these controllers are with these huge egos, but I'm sorry. It's just, I find it funny. But anyway, so a controller can be a spender if they get their ego involved. So oftentimes they could spend money when they have this desire to look a certain way and to be in control, basically. So, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. But controllers can also be good savers because they like structure. They can stick to a budget, and the budget is the budget, and so they're very rule oriented. So they can usually stick to a budget in the structure of a budget. So there's spenders and savers.
But they're no fun.
Oh yeah, I'm no fun.
Well, but
you've had no fun.
No, I'm just saying. I'm saying in general.
In general,
right,
they can be a little overbearing.
Learn to have a little.
Maybe they might need to loosen up every once in a while. We're going to loosen up here shortly. But anyway, so if you're just joining us, I'm Marlow Felton. I'm the controller. This is Chris Felton, my husband, the promoter. He's all about fun. And I'm all about structure and controlling things.
What's the next one?
So there's 4 basic money personalities: the controller, the promoter. Then there's also the analyzer or the analyst and the supporter. So basically, Chris and I are on one side of the spectrum. The other side of the spectrum are a little bit more free-flowing types of people. Chris and I do tend to be more structured than most. So we don't have a lot of free-flowing characteristics. If you know us, there's really not a whole lot of flakiness in us. Not that the analysts and the supporters are flaky, but they can be. And they can drive us crazy because we tend to be more structured and more take charge kinds of people.
All right, let me talk about the analysts.
You talk about the analysts because they're your Chris is a little bit of an anomaly because he typically, you really do have you have characteristics in all 4 of these quadrants.
Yeah. Well, I can be very analytical.
He really does, more so than most people. So I think you can speak more to the analyzer and definitely the supporter, because the supporter is the complete opposite.
Yeah, so with all 4 of these, you need to understand the basic symptom that runs all of them. So the controller has a need to be in control, need to be right. The analyst has a fear of making the wrong decision. Mm-hmm. The promoter has a need to have fun. And then the supporter just has a need to be loved.
Love.
They just want to be loved. So the analyst just has, it just doesn't, it's just as it is. They actually just can't make decisions, and they have a fear of making a a wrong decision. So they'll, shop the internet for 8 hours to figure out, which gas station to go to, or, what TV to buy. And they just have to have, data and data and data, and this is also good if you're an entrepreneur, if you're in sales like us, to understand, who are you dealing with, and you can really figure it out within a few minutes of, who are they, and you need to learn to sell to that or communicate to that. But yeah, the analyst just, when I'm dealing with an analyst, and if you're an analyst out there, around your money, I mean, yeah, you're probably tracking your dollars, watching your spending, but you kind of, and you're probably proud of your spreadsheets, and you're probably proud of your, I can't remember what book it was. It was this lady that showed up, and she was an analyst. It's Rick Edelman's book, Ordinary People, Extraordinary Wealth, and she had, everything highlighted, and, she had her little stuff, and she was so proud of it, and they were broke, but she was tracking it well.
Right.
And she was totally uncoachable, and she just was in love with her spreadsheets, and in love with her system, and in love with her tracking. And so analysts can sometimes, lose the forest by looking at the trees, and so they can not really understand where they're going or where they're aiming, because they're so flippin' lost in all the minutia. And when I'm dealing with an analyst to make a decision, I'm usually like, okay, what's the 3 things that needs to happen that you need to see, feel, hear, touch, whatever, in order to move forward, and then just pinning them down on the specific things. And so if you're, anyway, so analysts are great. They're good. It's needed. You got to get analytical. Sometimes things are won and lost in the details. So it's good, but sometimes you can kind of lose sight of what you're going.
Right. I mean, and what we're really saying is all about balance, but understanding that money personality, especially if you're in a relationship with one. So the analyzer could be a good partner to run the finances. As I mentioned before, still with that transparency to the other partner, which is always imperative, in my opinion. Like Chris said, they can overanalyze and not move quickly. And so in a business situation, they can be, difficult to work with in that respect. But in a relationship, just know that they crave structure, and they need to know all the facts and figures. So if you're in a relationship with an analyzer, don't come to them with this emotional reason of why you want something or why you think you should be doing this or that with your money. It has to be somewhat logical for them, and you have to show them the facts of how it's going to work first. So it's really important to understand that as well. In dealing with a promoter spouse, it's important to understand their need to have fun, and they are going to be motivated by something that sounds like more fun, and if there's an emotional connection there. So they're kind of the polar opposite of the analyzer. They're going to go by emotion more so than they are going to go by logic or facts and data generally. But as I mentioned, Chris is pretty much balanced in all 4, even though he's a little bit heavier of the promoter. And so what about these supporters, honey, that drive me crazy? They're very nice. They're nice people because they are full of love. And I'm all about love. They're very...
Controlled love.
They're very...
Controlled.
They're very free-flowing and free spirits, and go with the flow.
No, they're great. They're all about family. They're all about taking care of people. They're all, they're all about it. But usually they're massive avoiders, and and it's just they're so about others and loving others and all that usually they don't care about themselves. I mean, normally, and they don't really understand that if they don't take care of themselves first, they're not going to be able to help everybody. So sometimes their batteries run down, and then they resent everything and everybody. Because sometimes it's not returned, or anyway, so that's that personality. So money's usually, for most of those people, I'm thinking about one person in particular, that is just a phenomenal person, serves a lot of people, but just broke. I mean, no money. It's not important. Relationships are everything, and it's great. And he's served gobs of people, but he's got a lot of financial stress, a lot of financial problems, and he kind of runs on the karma money is going to show up one day, and it won't.
Right. Yeah.
And they're usually horrible receivers, which keeps your money away.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so if you're in a relationship with a supporter, really what's going to motivate them is anything that sounds like more love, anything that supports the family, more togetherness. So if you're coming to your supporter spouse with a challenge, a money discussion, come with the perspective of this is what it's going to do for our family. And this is, the lifestyle, the freedom, anything that sounds like more love and well-being for the family is going to motivate them. But the negative, or something that a supporter would have to be aware of, is their tendency to avoid money conversations because they are so focused on helping other people. They often don't take care of themselves. So that's incredibly important and something to keep in mind for sure on that. So, just to recap the 4 money personalities in relation to money, there's a controller. Really make sure that they are in control of the finances. If they're a reasonable person, they're also going to provide transparency, which is extremely important. Then there's the promoter, which Chris is. The promoter is oriented around fun, need to be liked. So anything that sounds like more fun, that's going to motivate them from a money perspective. But be careful, they can also be big spenders because they're all about fun and needing to be liked. And so they can be spenders too. So they have to be aware that that's running them. And then there's the analyst. And, the analyst needs the facts and figures and the logic behind it. Don't come to them with an emotional reason for something, for a financial decision. It has to make logical sense for them to take action and for them to really understand. And then there is the supporter, and the supporter wants love.
True love.
And so the supporter, anything that sounds like more love, something that's going to help people, provide for the family, take care of the family, that is going to motivate them. But be careful, supporters, or if you're in a relationship with a supporter, because they also tend to be avoiders and busy taking care of everyone doormats and taking care of everyone except for themselves. So supporters, please take care of yourself. We want that for you. And if you want to continue this conversation, what do they do if they want to continue?
Couples Money Forum.
So we're going to dive into more depth in our Couples Money Forum and some other programs, really helping you identify your money personality and just a plethora of other things to help you fine-tune your money consciousness and really have a better relationship with money. So you can see the link that I've provided to find out a little bit more about the Couples Money Forum, and we're going to go into more detail in there. So that's how you can continue the conversation, and we appreciate you for joining us and enjoy the Justin Timberlake halftime show and all the fun commercials on the Super Bowl. I know that I will.
Okay.
All right. Here's to your success. See you next time.
See ya.
Okay.